greets you all, and wishes you a pleasant listening experience. Every year when I go home for the new year, I mysteriously lose my jewelry. So this year, I deliberately replaced the expensive jade bracelet on my hand with a fake gold bracelet I bought online for 29.9 yuan bao zip. At the dining table, my sister-in-law caressed her pregnant belly, her face full of kindness. But her eyes were glued to the bracelet on my wrist. She said she had gone to see a fortune teller. This time the baby was definitely a boy. Hearing this, I didn't have time to pay attention. Who would have thought that the next second she would turn the conversation to me? Her words were full of hidden meanings, criticizing me for being a useless girl, not worthy of wearing such a good bracelet. After hearing that, my mother-in-law didn't hesitate for a second. She immediately snatched the bracelet from my hand and put it on my sister-in-law's hand. After all, this bracelet was bought with my son's money, and I'm his mother. Don't I have the right to use my son's money? My mother-in-law said it as a matter of course. As an adult, I couldn't bring myself to directly refute him. I just quietly pulled my husband's sleeve under the table, asking him to speak up. But I didn't receive any help from him. On the contrary, he looked at me with reproachful and annoyed eyes. Mom is right, just listen to her. After saying that, he lowered his head and continued eating. My mother-in-law and sister-in-law glanced at me, their faces looking like they were mocking me for not knowing my limits, and even more smugly raised their wrists to admire the bracelet. Suddenly, the sister-in-law shook the bracelet, felt its weight and exclaimed, "Oh my God! This bracelet is really heavy. Jiang Ning must have spent a lot of money on Shaolin." My husband chewed the meat and muttered, "You don't know that all the money is kept by Jiang Nin." As soon as he finished speaking, there was a loud bang. My mother-in-law slammed her chopsticks down on the bowl, her face hard as if I had just swallowed her eldest grandson. The whole dining table immediately fell silent. Everyone was startled and stopped their chopsticks, turning to look at her with gloomy faces. "What's wrong, Mom?" My husband didn't understand, so he asked again. "What? What else do you want to ask?" Mother-in-law was like she had just swallowed a firecracker, so angry that her saliva was flying everywhere. How could our Lin family's money be kept by an outsider? You are her husband, your husband is heaven. How could you let an outsider take the money in your hand? My husband immediately went into a state of pretending to be dead, silent as a mouse, not reacting, not explaining, as if every word had nothing to do with him. Seeing this, mother-in-law was so angry that she gritted her teeth, glared at him, then turned her sharp point to me. "Jiang Ning, you really are, how can you not know anything? Shaolin gave you the money to keep, so you really kept it? Do you need the money? No, what you need is the reputation of our Lin family, which is my old life." I quietly covered my daughter's ears, afraid that her poisonous words would poison her young mind. "Okay, let's do this. I've decided, Jiang Ning, stand here in front of everyone and explain clearly. When you get home, pay back all the money to Chu Lam. Also, how much Chu has spent over the years, including your and the child's expenses. Write it all down in a book and clearly show it to Mom. That's not too much, right?" I tried not to roll my eyes. I did keep Lam Haivin's salary card. But with his meager salary, it was like a drop in the bucket, not even enough to pay for milk for his child. All these years, it was only thanks to me investing and playing stocks to earn money that I was able to cover the family's expenses. Otherwise, let alone a 29.9 yuan bracelet, I probably wouldn't have been able to buy a 9.9 yuan plastic bracelet. Instead of waiting for him, I might as well hope that the northwest wind would blow a little stronger. Furthermore, I also used his salary to invest in finance, and the profits have been quite good these past few years. Did you hear that, Jiang Ning? Don't say that I'm being unreasonable. It's because you don't have the ability, you can't even give birth to a son, and you still dream of becoming a daughter-in-law of the Lin family. I really couldn't hold it in and refuted. The doctor said that whether a man has a son or a daughter is determined by his jealousy. Oh my God. Are you trying to rebel? My mother-in-law was famous for her loud voice in the countryside. It was said that her voice could be heard from one end of the village to the other. There was a time when the village loudspeaker was broken, and people asked her to deliver the message. Her achievements were obvious. I had a headache from her scolding, and I looked at my husband for help. He still pretended like he didn't see anything as usual. The anger I had suppressed for years suddenly flared up. Every time my mother-in-law started a fight and I sought his help, he always had the same attitude. It sounds good to say that you are neutral about trivial women's matters. It's not good for men to get involved. But sometimes being neutral is going along with it, and being silent is a form of agreement. I am the youngest child in the family. My parents gave birth late. I have an older brother and an older sister. At home, I was pampered by my parents with many older siblings. I was like a little princess who got whatever she wanted. But who would have thought that someone who had been pampered since childhood like me would willingly endure the 3 most beautiful years of my youth? For 3 years, the chicken was given to lamb heroine, and I endured the same amount of humiliation. The first 2 years, my sister-in-law secretly took my jewelry. I pretended not to see, and let it go. My mother-in-law started a fight. I tried to do everything well, trying to train myself to be a good, understanding daughter-in-law. But today, I looked at each person sitting around the dining table one by one. I suddenly realized that in this happy and harmonious family, I had no place. Everyone else sat on high chairs that fit at the dining table, while my daughter and I were forced to sit on low plastic chairs. There were not enough bowls and plates, so I had to make do with a cheap disposable plastic bowl. Even the guard dog has its own set of dishes. It's funny how I spent the whole morning preparing a sumptuous meal. The more I clean the house, the worse I get at it. What was even more ridiculous was that I had only just realized those details. I gasped. A feeling of helplessness and dizziness swept through my entire body. In the midst of my confusion, my mother-in-law's scream brought me back to reality. What are you hesitating for? I'm telling you, don't think that keeping quiet is enough. If you don't make it clear today, don't even think about stepping out the door. I was like a drowning camel, taking one last look at the person who was still pretending to be deaf and uninvolved. I asked him, "Don't you have anything to say?" Perhaps my voice was a little hoarse, because he looked up at me, then glanced at his mother-in-law, and quickly lowered his head. He didn't say anything, but it seemed like he had said everything. I laughed until I was annoyed. How could I have valued this kind of man in the past? I asked you, "Why are you making things difficult for my son?" My mother-in-law's voice was like thunder, accompanied by the sound of banging on the table. It was like each blow hitting my face. It hurt deep inside my heart. I really couldn't take it anymore. Trying to hold on to my last bit of sanity, I carried my daughter into the inner room, then slammed the door shut. My mother-in-law was stunned by that action, and started banging on the table and shouting loudly, "What are you trying to do? Do you want to go to heaven? What do you want to do?" I slowly rolled up my sleeves, then looked straight at everyone sitting at the dining table, eating and drinking happily as if nothing had happened. The sound of my mother-in-law banging on the table and the clashing of dishes and chopsticks had not yet stopped when I used both hands to grab the edge of the table, gritted my teeth and used all my strength to throw the entire dining table up. Bang! Clash! "Do you want to die? You destroyer! You create karma!" The dishes fell and covered the ground, broken pieces flying everywhere. I looked at the chaotic scene on the ground, heard the shrill curses and the stunned looks of everyone around me. Yet I felt strangely relieved and couldn't help but laugh out loud. Thinking back, with my abilities actually, it was Lam Hoiveen who couldn't live without me. With his meager salary, it was hard to support himself, let alone support a wife and children, so let's get a divorce, I said softly. The whole family was stunned by my indifferent attitude. Even my mother-in-law, who was about to slap me, stopped in mid-air. "What did you say? The things you eat, live in, and use every day, is there anything that isn't bought with my son's money? Is there anything that isn't my family's property?" My mother-in-law laughed contemptuously. "I'm telling you, you can get a divorce, but first you have to return all of my son's money. Every penny has to be accounted for." Mom, at this point, Lin Huan finally opened his mouth. He glanced at me, his eyes flashing. Actually, he knew the financial situation of the house very well. I studied accounting in college. All the income and expenses of the family were clearly recorded, posted in the middle of the house, updated monthly. So Lam Hoiveen knew very well that without me, he wouldn't be able to survive on that dead salary alone. Yet, despite knowing everything, he could still stand by and watch me being bullied and humiliated by my mother. Having thought it through, the way I looked at Lam Hoiveen was filled with only contempt. "Okay, then let's calculate every penny." I nodded firmly. Not only that, the mother-in-law continued, with her hands on her hips, and that brat, what kind of girl can pay? Our Lam family won't accept her. Mom, stop talking. Lam Haivin panicked, stood up and pulled on his mother's sleeve, trying his best to stop her from continuing. It turned out that he knew how to talk and act. It was just that before touching his own core interests, he always maintained the appearance of an outsider, ignoring everything. Don't pull me, mother-in-law shook his hand away, continued to bring out another guy. I want to see someone who has no job, lives off my son like you, a used product like you, who would want to marry. It seems she really doesn't know who the main breadwinner in the house is. Then it would be easier to solve. Before, I was worried that if they knew my ability to make money, they might not agree to divorce easily. Luckily, thanks to Lam Haivin's good reputation, I was able to get a divorce more easily. They were sure that I only knew how to spend money, not earn it. So let's start with the first item. Mother-in-law narrowed her eyes. What item? It was a set of jewelry that my sister-in-law had taken from me a few years ago. When it was added together, it was worth nearly 30,000 yuan. If I wanted to, I could always call the police. What jewelry? What nonsense are you talking about? Sister-in-law, who had been watching the drama all this while, immediately changed her expression and shouted angrily. You're blatantly slandering me like this, I'll rip your mouth out. I calmly glanced at the 4-leaf TV cord around her neck. Really, the cord around her neck is the new model I bought last year at the official counter. I still have the receipt and transaction history. Do you want to see it? What are you making up? Could it be that you can buy it but others can't? I bought it myself. Then take out the receipt to compare? Or do you want the police to check for you? Everyone in the house was startled by my serious attitude and fell silent. Seeing that I was really taking out my phone to call the police, my sister-in-law panicked and rushed over to hold my hand. On the contrary, the mother-in-law was still as calm as ever. Go ahead and report it, let him report it. I'm afraid that I took that necklace. I also want to see if the police come and arrest me or him. I took that item with my son's money. Do you still have the nerve to report it to the police? I've lived this long, and I've never seen anyone as shameless as you. I smiled faintly, quickly sent a message to my brother who is a police officer, and asked my sister who is a lawyer to prepare the divorce papers. I turned on the video recording mode, pretending to casually hold the phone to my chest. So that means the 2 jade bracelets and the men's marble ring, the branded necklace and the earrings from last year, were all mixed by you and given to my sister-in-law? What did you mean mixed? I am a mother. It is only natural for me to take things my son bought. It was good that she admitted to taking the items. I immediately sent the video to the lawyer's sister. She responded quickly, fully supporting my decision to divorce. Actually, my family has never been satisfied with Lam Haivin. It was just because of my face that they didn't dare say it. Even my parents realized that I was not happy living in my husband's house, only I was lying to myself for 3 years. Now that I have agreed to divorce, they must be so happy they laugh in their dreams. My brother also texted me back, saying he was working overtime today, and stopped by Lam's house on the way. My family will always be my strongest support. My cold heart gradually warmed up, and my mind became clearer. I will send you the expense report right after I sign the divorce papers. Don't worry, I have written everything clearly, and Lin Huiyan himself knows it. At this time, Lam Haivin no longer called for his mother. He looked at me and said, he did not agree to the divorce. I answered frankly, his mother agreed. To deal with a mother's son, just use mother and sister and you'll be fine. This move is also known as the mother's paradox. Sure enough, under his mother's gaze, his face changed a few times before he fell silent. I didn't bother to hide it, I glared at him clearly. Useless. I don't know why I used to look at people like that. Mother-in-law pulled Lam Haivin to hide behind her, pointing at the pile of broken dishes on the floor. Okay, but what about the food and dishes? They were all bought with Redland money, you have to pay for them, understand? Okay, I nodded. She immediately shouted out an exorbitant price. Those items were all high-end porcelain. One is at least a few thousand. But I live with reason, so a total of 100,000 is fine, not much. No problem. I laughed, spread my hands and said, just give me the bill, receipt, payment documents, don't say 100,000, 1 million, I will pay. Mother-in-law started to roll, who would buy dishes and get a bill, don't make things difficult for others. I shook my head, this is not ordinary dishes, It is high-class porcelain, there must be a bill. But that was okay. I changed my tone and looked at the family with a calm face. The police were coming soon, and I was sure they would be happy to help her find her missing receipt. Damn it, she really dared to call the police. My mother-in-law was furious and scolded me non-stop. Suddenly, my sister-in-law fell to the ground holding her stomach. Ouch, my stomach hurts so much. Help, my son is probably not going to make it. I looked at her with cold eyes. Just a second ago she was screaming, now she was so weak she couldn't move. A sober person could see clearly that she was acting. I turned on the camera to record the whole thing. Afraid that she would betray me. Oh my God, if anything happened to my grandchild, I would fight to the death with her. The two loudspeakers continued to blare until their hands were sore. Ding dong, the doorbell rang, and the mother-in-law and sister-in-law immediately became louder. They thought the police had arrived. Sister, I opened the door of my sister's law office nearby, and arrived even faster than the police. Seeing that it wasn't the police, my mother-in-law and sister-in-law finally shut up. This is the divorce papers. If there is no problem, then sign it. My sister brought 2 copies of the paper. I didn't even look at one and signed it. On the contrary, Lam Hoiveen pursed his lips tightly, refusing to sign. Don't sign it. After signing, I will take the little girl home to live with me. Don't forget, there is still your blood in her belly. Mom, Lam Hoiveen suddenly shouted. Obviously, he didn't expect that the secret he had been hiding for so long would be revealed so easily by his mother. And cheating on him, Lam Hoiveen, you're really good. I looked at him and smiled coldly. Thinking back on the past 3 years, it was truly disgusting. Sign it, son, quickly. After signing, let him pay you back. Then we can welcome Nian Nian back to live with us, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Just thinking about it, my mother-in-law's face turned as red as Tet. No, I won't sign. Mom, I can't sign. Lam Hoiveen cried out in panic. The smile on his mother-in-law's face froze. What nonsense are you talking about? Mao signed. He was like sitting on a tiger's back, not knowing whether to move or retreat. So he let his mother pull his hand and put her fingerprint on the divorce papers. Then please move out of my house. I put away the divorce agreement and looked at my mother-in-law, who was stunned. Didn't he tell you? This house is my marital property. I also paid for the interior renovation. For the past few years, I have been paying for all your electricity, water, and living expenses. As for your food, clothing, and the money Lam Hoiveen sends you each month, it is all money I earned. According to the divorce terms, it must all be returned. Seeing that the whole family's faces were pale, I added another sentence. Oh right, Lam Hoiveen has weak sperm, you guys probably don't know that. Lam Hoiveen really has weak sperm. My daughter was the result of several rounds of in vitro fertilization that were fortunately saved. The child was already weak at birth, and was often bullied by the Lam family. But in reality, the reason for her weak health was due to moving from Lam Hoiveen. The doctor had concluded that without medical intervention, Lin Huayuan would not be able to conceive naturally. Even with intervention, the child would still be at risk of being physically weak due to the genetic factor. If he had not knelt down at that time and begged me to keep the child, I would never have given birth to a child with such a person. Now that's great, he finally broke through the limits of medicine, and had his own child. He must be very happy. What do you mean by weak sperm? What nonsense are you talking about? The mother-in-law couldn't accept it. If she hadn't been blocked by the chairs, she would have rushed straight to me. Seeing that, my sister quickly pulled me back, conveniently sending a message to my brother to come quickly. She frowned. Didn't she understand what weak sperm meant? It meant that her son couldn't get a woman pregnant naturally. The child in the new daughter-in-law's belly was not her blood. Understand? My sister has always spoken clearly and decisively. Is she telling the truth or is she being unreasonable? The mother-in-law looked away. The old woman collapsed, grabbing Lam Hoiveen and shaking her. Seeing him bow his head in silence, she immediately sat down on the floor and cried loudly. Oh my God! I just wanted a grandson, why is it so difficult? How can I face my husband in the afterlife? I glanced at her and muttered in frustration. If you love your son so much, why don't you build one for yourself? Obviously your love isn't deep enough. My sister-in-law quickly ran over to help her. Mom, don't be sad, I'm here. The fortune teller said the baby in my belly is a boy, And he will definitely take care of you in the future. What kind of care? It's just for the money for your funeral. Living together for 3 years, my sister-in-law's attitude of not touching anything unless it's beneficial has been deeply imprinted in my memory. It's all because of you. If it weren't for marrying a star like you, my family wouldn't be in this situation. I replied calmly. If it weren't for me, their family probably wouldn't have been able to live in such a big house. Seeing that she couldn't answer, it seemed like she was about to beat me up. At the crucial moment, the doorbell rang. This time it was my brother, the person I had been waiting for all this time, who opened the door. He scanned the chaos in the living room, his expression stern, but behind my back he secretly gave me a thumbs up. Oh, my stomach hurts. Help. Seeing the police arrive, it was like turning on a switch. The other two started screaming at the same time. But because of this situation, the police did not dare to come near. If they were falsely accused of causing death, it would be terrible. In the end, they had to call the 120 ambulance. But even when the ambulance arrived, the two of them still refused to get in. I had no choice but to change my target to Lam Haivin, a very prideful person. Now the neighbors around had all come to watch the conversation. He kept his head down, his face as red as a ripe tomato. Lam Haivin, this is my house. If you still know how to be cruel, then quickly take your mother and sister-in-law and leave here. What house is this? This is my son's house. Before Lam Haivin could say anything, his mother-in-law screamed first, struggling and waving her arms, threatening to rush over. No one could stop her. Oh my stomach. Help. Blood, there's blood. Neighbors stood watching, shouting and pointing at the floor. The sister-in-law had been pretending to scream all this time, but at some point she had gotten into her real acting. In the chaos, the 120 ambulance team rushed to carry her away. Quickly save my nephew. I must keep my grandson. At the hospital, the eldest brother of the Lin family, Lin Zun, finally showed up. Strangely, he didn't bother to ask about his sister-in-law's condition. As soon as he arrived, he leaned over to Lin Huayuan and whispered something, as if he was giving him some instructions. Lam Trivine was clearly more sinister than the rest of the Lam family. I was suspicious, so I whispered to my sister. She immediately understood and called a private detective she knew for help. Jiang Ningyi, you know your mother-in-law, she has a hot temper. Don't take anything to heart. Lin Zion crossed his arms behind his back, his face full of worry for her, and walked closer to me. I didn't pay any attention. He didn't mind and continued, the house is there after all, my mother has lived there for a long time. Now it will be difficult to adapt to asking her to move away, right? Besides, the conflict between you and the little boy is not irreconcilable. He is a big boy, but he is still a child at heart, you should not accept it. I almost laughed at this stupid argument, and firmly asked the boy, what do you want, say it. Actually, we don't need anything, it's just that mom is old, moving over and over again is not good. What do you think? I looked at him dejectedly. Then I'll give you this house. How could that be convenient? He was full of glasses, she acted as if she was deep and unfathomable, but no matter how you looked at it, it was just ridiculous. My brother and sister-in-law didn't want you to suffer any loss. How about this, we'll trade our apartment for yours. A 30 square meter, dilapidated apartment in a remote suburb, and he wanted to exchange it for a 100 square meter, high-end furnished apartment in the city center. I stared, trying to understand how this person could say such a thing. As for the matter between you and the youngest son, don't take it too seriously. What's so serious that you need a divorce? As far as I know, I'm only 1 year and 4 months younger than Lam Haivin. I was wrong, I said, looking like I was thinking. Seeing me lower my head, Lam just smiled with satisfaction. Knowing that I was wrong was good, after all we were family. He wasn't a profound person, he was just shameless. His smile froze on his face. Before he could react, the surgery notice disappeared. At the same time, his mother-in-law rushed to the hospital. Seeing the doctor pushing his sister-in-law away, she rushed to block his way. Where is my child? What about my nephew? Sorry, we tried our best but couldn't save the baby. However, we are here to help to ensure safety. The mother-in-law didn't hear the rest of the doctor's words at all. To her, nothing else mattered except her grandson. The two Lam brothers also decided to help the old lady who was crouching down. I picked up my phone and opened the video that a neighbor had recorded. and had just been pushed to the top of the city's search results. I focused on watching carefully. Even though the video was fast-forwarded, I could still clearly see that the mother-in-law's strong elbow accidentally pressed hard on the sister-in-law's stomach while trying to stand up. To put it bluntly, the baby was lost because of her own hands. I saved the video feeling both regretful and amused. Suddenly, a figure appeared in my line of sight, charging straight at me. "Damn it. You unlucky woman. It's all your fault. Give my grandson back." The mother-in-law rushed over. The two cousins pretended to stop her, but in reality they didn't put any effort into it, just letting her run wild. "Wait, Grandma, you have another grandchild waiting for you to take care of." My sister just finished making a phone call and appeared, pulling me behind her. She paused, her eyebrows raised. "What do you mean?" My sister pursed her lips, half smiling, half not, slightly flicking her chin behind her back. She asked her two handsome sons. The girl named Nian that she raised in the countryside. Her belly is getting bigger. Lam Hoivine cannot make a woman pregnant naturally. Furthermore, the elder brother, Lam Trivine, did not have that problem. And my sister confirmed that the child in Nian's belly was indeed of the Lam family. In short, the elder brother slept with his younger brother's girlfriend and got her pregnant. This is the peak of chaos. It's unbelievable. Mother-in-law grabbed Lin Xian by the collar and asked, "Is what he said true?" He didn't bother to deny it, just nodded his head absent-mindedly. She immediately breathed a sigh of relief, her face looking as if she had been liberated. She was so fascinated that she didn't care about morality anymore. As long as it was her nephew carrying the Lam family name, she would accept it all. The chaos that had just come this far was enough. I was about to turn around and leave when Lam Trivine supported my mother-in-law and deliberately raised her voice. "Mom, your health is weak. I will take you home to rest first. Let me and my brother take care of the rest, don't worry." Immediately, alarm bells rang in my head. At this point, he still hadn't given up on targeting my house. What a shameless person. Luckily, on the way here, I sent a message to my best friend. I asked her to hire a few strong men to stand guard in front of the house and help me look after my daughter. When she sent me a photo of her sleeping soundly, her little face peaceful, my heart finally calmed down, no longer flustered. "Jiangning, look at the trouble you causing your sister-in-law to miscarry. You should have an explanation." I turned to look at the two Lin brothers returning. I knew they would use this matter to threaten me. But thinking about the video I had just saved, I stood up straight and laughed. "So how do you want me to explain?" The two of them glanced at each other. Divorce was fine, but how the assets were divided would be up to our Lam family to decide. If you don't agree, then we'll see you in court. After all, there was a life in my sister-in-law's belly before. I nodded, yes, it was a life. Seeing me cooperate like that, the two of them looked pleased, unable to hide the smile on the corner of their mouths. Then let's be straightforward. The house in the city center will be under the name of the Lam family. As for the house you and Ute are living in, half belongs to the Lam family. In addition, your other assets will be divided into 3 to 7. Your family has many people, Ute works hard to earn money, so your family takes 7, I take 3. As for your handbags and jewelry, consider them as emotional damages for your sister-in-law. We won't bother with them anymore, just arrange for them to be delivered. The wedding car your parents gave you, the youngest son has been driving for years. What use is it for you as a woman? We also didn't ask for the driver's salary for the past few years, so we'll keep that car as compensation. As for little Xiaoxi, she's your biological child after all, so we won't make things difficult for her. We'll let her stay with you to avoid the situation where mother and child are separated. Hearing him speak in such a hypocritical tone as if he was doing me a favor, I took a deep breath to calm down. Today I have seen with my own eyes how shameless people can be. Living with Lam Hoivine for 3 years is truly more disgusting than swallowing dog shit. Or maybe I should just leave empty-handed. I will also give you an additional 300,000 as the cost of warming Lin Huayuan's bed for the past 3 years. In a crowded hospital, watching the excitement is a human instinct. In no time a crowd had gathered around. As soon as I finished speaking, there was a burst of laughter from the crowd. Both the Lam brothers were embarrassed. Now they were in a dilemma, both regretting their participation and not wanting to let go of the easy money. "Jiangning, let's talk about this later. Right now we still have to worry about your sister-in-law's health, right? After all, you have to take responsibility for taking care of her. Seeing that his tone had changed, I stopped being polite and opened the video of the old lady elbowing my sister-in-law in the stomach. There was no point in deleting it. This video had been posted online a long time ago, and had been viewed hundreds of times. Seeing them grabbing my phone to delete the clip, I kindly reminded them, "It's a human life after all. Do you want me to introduce some lawyers, help you draft a lawsuit, and try to put your mother in jail?" Lam Chi-veen was about to say something when his phone rang. "Hello, Mom." The two cousins moved away, their voices getting softer. I guessed that the old mother must have gotten home and was blocked at the door, so she called her son for help. "Sister, let's go home." My sister and I went to the police station to file a report. After everything was done, we prepared to go home. The Lam family was making trouble at my old house. My best friend took my daughter to my parents' house, and before leaving, he recorded a video and sent it to me. I opened the video for my sister to see. In the clip, my mother-in-law was sitting on the steps, crying like a baby. The two Lam brothers, one stood silently smoking in the distance, the other sat motionless like a log. The men I hired just stood there, not bothering to react no matter how much she screamed. The entire video was like a one-man show by that old lady. My sister asked worriedly, "What are you going to do? Letting the Lam family keep making trouble like this is not a long-term solution." I winked at her. "Doesn't that old lady treat her grandson like heaven? If my sister-in-law finds out that the baby in the countryside is her brother-in-law's, she definitely won't let it go. By then, she wouldn't have the time to come here even if she wanted to make trouble." I returned to the old house. Sure enough, everything was no different than in the video. Even the other people's postures didn't change much. Seeing me dare to turn back, the whole group angrily surrounded me. "You whore, what are you doing here? You want to rob our Lam family." The bodyguards I hired immediately stepped forward, blocking me and them. I took out the house ownership certificate from my pocket and held it up for everyone to see. "Please look closely. The house ownership certificate clearly states my name and the names of the others. No one has a share. Your so-called Lin family is lying in the mud in the countryside. Do you want to go back and visit?" I canceled all the investments I used to manage with Lin Huayuan's salary, and then casually threw him the salary card. I hope that old mother will still have enough energy to curse others after seeing the remaining balance. "Oh right," I smiled on purpose. "Does sister-in-law know that the baby in Nian Nian's belly is her brother's? I guess she knows now. I heard that sister-in-law's brother just got out of prison not long ago. I wonder how long it will take from her house to your village." Hearing that, the whole group immediately panicked. The mother-in-law was in a panic and wanted to go back to her hometown immediately, but the so-called Lam Ho-I-veen's car was nowhere to be seen. Oh, I forgot to say I called a tow truck to take the car away for destruction. "Everyone take a taxi back to your hometown." She rushed forward and shouted, "What right do you have to do that? I rely on the car registration book that is under my name. My car, I don't want to keep it anymore, so I'll throw it away, that's all." The bodyguard still stood in front of me, making her so angry that she could only stand outside and curse. "Mom, stop being so mean." Nian Nian called and told us to go back immediately. I watched the retreating figures of the Lam family without feeling any joy or happiness. I only felt that the resentment that had been suppressed for so many years had finally been released. Later, when I went to file for divorce, Lam Ho-I-veen's change truly surprised me. I looked at his sunken face, his sunken cheeks, and his deep voice and quickly took a step back. He had a strong stench from not bathing for a long time. He became like this, I really couldn't think of any other words other than, he deserved it, and congratulated himself. Without my money and my house, the Lam family could no longer live in the city and eventually had to return to the countryside. During that time they also came back to cause trouble. But ironically, every time they accidentally ran into my brother, who had just finished his police shift and had not yet had time to change. Occasionally, I even saw my muscular cousin practicing Tai Chi. There was no profit to be made, so people stopped coming. In order to avoid criminal prosecution, my sister-in-law obediently returned all the jewelry she had mixed up. It's just that looking at the things they had touched, I only felt disgusted and unlucky, so I sold everything and donated the money to children in the highlands. After that, under the strict supervision of her mother-in-law, Nian Nian finally gave birth to a safe baby. Only, I heard that child has no blood relation to the Lamb family. Nian just conveniently dragged the Lamb family into the blame. I conveniently threw the divorce papers into the drawer. In the gentle afternoon sunlight, my daughter's crisp laughter mixed with my parents' chattering. At that moment, the sunlight covered my shoulder. I finally felt the thing called warmth return to me. That's all for now. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Don't forget to like and subscribe to hear more great stories. Goodbye and see you again.